Hey guys, coming to you from Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is Schoolhouse Cracked. Brett Derickson here. It is Martin Luther King Day. Normally I'd be at work right now, but we're celebrating Martin Luther King Day by doing a podcast out in one of our favorite spots here in Colorado Springs. We're at our favorite brewery, the Goat Patch, which I'm wearing on my hat. And there's a whole bunch of really cool businesses here. A great spot for us to be, and a great way to celebrate Schoolhouse Cracked and the things that we're trying to accomplish. Just something to mention as we honor Dr. King. He wrote an essay in 1947. That would have made him about 19 or 20 years old. It's called The Purpose of Education, and he wrote it for the Morehouse College student paper. Just want to read a couple of lines from the very end of his essay. As Martin Luther King eloquently writes in this essay, at the very end, he says, "The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education which stops with efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society. The most dangerous criminal may be the man gifted with reason, but with no morals." He ends with this warning. If we are not careful, our colleges or our schools will produce a group of closed-minded, unscientific, illogical propagandists consumed with immoral acts. Be careful, brethren. Be careful, teachers. It just goes to show that Dr. Luther King had a lot to say about what we are to learn and how we are to use our learning and our knowledge within our society. So something for us to think about as we talk with people today. Hey everybody, I'm here with Maria. We just met her outside. Maria is actually a public school educator. Maria, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name is Maria Brooks, and I teach 8th grade math, and this is my second year teaching.
Excellent. Our first question is today is Maria's out here enjoying a beautiful day in Colorado Springs, and it's Martin Luther King Day. We all have the day off as educators. Maria, what do you think the impact of Martin Luther King as a human being has been on American public education?
Oh, absolutely huge. The school that I teach at is an Avid campus, and we have really emphasized MLK in our Avid classes in the last week and just explaining it, and it's led to some really raw and real conversations in my school, which is a Title I school, and we see a lot of issues there, and so it's been really cool and opened a lot of doors for interesting conversation and diversity and equity and all of that.
Tegan, today is Martin Luther King Day. You're not having to be at school today. Martin Luther King had a major impact on American society. As a teenager, what would you say Martin Luther King's greatest impact on public schools has been?
I'd say just honestly, just like curriculum. Like we on Martin Luther King Day, we go through a lot of his works, and it's just good to just see what he's done, the impact that he's made on the community, and that's what he's affecting public schools. Just learning about how he affected change in our society.
I'm here with.
Rob Redfield.
So, Rob, we're here on MLK Day celebrating MLK and his influence on America and the public education system. So, from your experience, your thoughts, what would you say is MLK's biggest influence on the American education system?
Probably just to create a real level playing field so that your outcomes would depend upon your efforts and your merit and not on other factors.
Martin Luther King and his impact on American public schools.
I think he just helped open some people's minds about how schools should behave.
Okay. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and normally we would be at work. Dr. King, as Dr. MC and I have talked about, is somebody who we find to be a giant of intellect and of practice in our country. Rudy, what would you say is the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King for American public schools?
For American public schools, his legacy is equality, which we're still not seeing to this day, and which can be seen in urban schools compared to suburban schools and the resources that they get as opposed to the urban schools. I mean, we're still, urban schools are still using 1980s textbooks, come on, in this day and age of technology. So,
yeah, I would say is that the concept of equality and human individual dignity, and particularly in relationship to faith, was his argument. And I guess I'm wondering if you see when you work in schools that people are represented.
Yeah. What do you mean when you say people?
All kinds of people. Yeah. Like, do you think everybody has equal access to the clubs, to the curriculum, to the dignity of the school experience?
I do think it's kind of different based off of where the schools are located and where they're at. I've noticed at the school
where I've been around a lot. It's in a district that's pretty affluent and like high income. And so I definitely think that the things that that district gets, like the resources, like access to things like Chromebooks or just like different things like that, is a lot different than a school that's maybe like more low income or is in a different area other than like Briargate in Colorado Springs.